Picture this. You scroll through your phone, and suddenly you see familiar places from your hometown in the news. Streets that look abandoned, factories with gates chained shut, and neighborhoods underwater from floods. It doesn't look like America, but it is. This is not some war-torn country halfway across the globe. It's home. It's the United States. And what's more terrifying is that this isn't some distant future. This is 2025. What if the next town to be hit isn't far away? What if it's yours? In this video, we reveal 10 US states that are teetering dangerously close to collapse. From decaying infrastructure and spiraling debt, to climate disasters and depopulation, these aren't just passing storms, they're structural failures. Economists, climate scientists, and social policy experts are raising the alarm. These states face multiple intersecting crises that threaten to reshape life for millions. And the scariest part? Some residents don't even realize it until it's too late. Stay with us as we count down the 10 states facing the greatest risk and ask the question on every viewer's mind. Is your state on the list? Number 10. Alaska. In Alaska, the most remote state in America, the ground beneath your feet is literally disappearing. In places like Utqiagvik, entire homes are slipping into the sea due to rapidly thawing permafrost. Roads are buckling. Buildings are sinking. This isn't just anecdotal. New research from the University of Alaska estimates that permafrost melt alone could cost the state between $37 to $51 billion in damages to critical infrastructure by 2050. That's not speculation, that's already happening. Oil pipelines, once secure beneath the frozen earth, are now exposed and fragile, threatening both the environment and the economy. The problems don't end there. Alaska's economy is dangerously reliant on two fragile sectors: oil and fishing. With warming seas and changing ecosystems, both are under threat. Budget shortfalls in Juneau have led to slashed services, and a declining population means fewer tax dollars. Health services in rural areas are collapsing, while emergency services are stretched thin. Alaska's extreme weather and geographic isolation make recovery harder than anywhere else. In this final frontier, survival isn't about adventure. It's a daily battle against a landscape that's turning on its own people. Number 9. New Jersey. New Jersey may be small, but it's hemorrhaging residents at a rate that alarmed demographers in 2024. More than 35,000 people left the state in 1 year, making it the fourth worst in the nation for net outmigration. And behind every number is a story. A Hoboken tech worker complains about soaring property taxes. A single mother in Newark wonders how she'll afford childcare next month. A retiree from Trenton says he simply can't keep up with medical bills anymore. The American dream here is fading, not with a bang, but with a slow bleed. The state's fiscal outlook is equally bleak. A bipartisan economic panel has warned that unless drastic action is taken, New Jersey could run out of emergency funds within the decade. Roads are in disrepair, the New Jersey transit system is perpetually delayed, and coastal towns face flooding with every major storm. On the barrier islands, entire neighborhoods now live with the constant threat of being underwater. Meanwhile, political deadlock in Trenton has stalled efforts to raise revenue or address infrastructure decay. From Atlantic City to Camden, many wonder, is New Jersey becoming too expensive to live in or too broken to fix? Number 8. New York. New York's image is built on strength, skyscrapers, Wall Street, and cultural vibrancy. But beneath that image lies a growing humanitarian crisis. Between 2022 and 2024, the state's homeless population more than doubled. By early 2024, over 158,000 New Yorkers were without permanent shelter, a staggering number that places New York among the worst in the nation, second only to Hawaii. From veterans to families with young children, people are living in shelters, subway stations, and makeshift tent cities. A social worker from the Bronx summarized it best. "We're out of options, and so are they." Housing isn't the only issue. In 2024 alone, over 120,000 residents fled the state seeking more affordable living elsewhere. From Buffalo to Long Island, people are packing up. Rust Belt towns like Schenectady and Utica are hollowing out. Even New York City is seeing its workforce slowly drain. Meanwhile, the state legislature in Albany is paralyzed by gridlock. Budgets for schools, hospitals, and public transportation continue to shrink. Despite its global reputation, New York is battling internal collapse. And if trends continue, even the Empire State may not be able to hold its ground. Number 7. California. California, the land of golden beaches and Silicon Valley dreams, is being battered on all sides. Wildfires, once seasonal threats, are now year-round disasters. In 2024, California endured back-to-back heat waves that sparked fires across the state and caused rolling blackouts. These fires didn't just destroy homes, they destroyed entire communities. Los Angeles alone holds over $831 billion in high-risk fire-prone real estate. Meanwhile, Silicon Valley's reservoirs are drying up, leaving both tech giants and everyday residents on edge about water security. But the environmental crisis is just one layer. The cost of living in California has become unsustainable. The median home price now exceeds $900,000. Even middle-class families are being priced out. Pension obligations and budget gaps are forcing the state to make tough choices, including cutting back on education and public safety. Despite aggressive climate policy and infrastructure investments, residents are moving to states like Texas, Arizona, and Florida. California was once seen as America's future. Now it's becoming a warning sign, a place where progress collides with climate and affordability collapses into chaos. Number 6. Illinois. Illinois is watching its population vanish. In 2023 alone, over 56,000 residents left the state. That's one person every 9 minutes. Towns in Peoria, Rockford, and southern Illinois echo with silence as factories close, school enrollments drop, and neighborhoods thin out. The reasons aren't a mystery. Sky-high property taxes, some of the nation's worst public pension debt, and a lack of new jobs have made Illinois unlivable for many. A former teacher from Decatur said, "I had no choice. We couldn't afford to stay here anymore." Natural disasters are adding insult to injury. Flooding from the Mississippi and Ohio rivers has overwhelmed levees and displaced communities. Chicago, the state's urban anchor, faces its own demons: aging transit systems, rising crime, and a political system gripped by dysfunction. Meanwhile, storms are becoming more intense, and farmers are struggling with unpredictable growing seasons. Illinois is no longer just losing people, it's losing stability. And without major reform, the state's infrastructure, both physical and social, will continue to crumble. Number 5. Florida. Florida's sun-soaked beaches and booming cities hide an inconvenient truth. The state is becoming increasingly uninhabitable. In 2024, the population topped 23 million, driven by both domestic migration and international immigration. But this rapid growth is colliding with natural disaster after disaster. Since 1980, Florida has faced nearly 100 catastrophic weather events, mostly hurricanes, costing hundreds of billions in damage. Hurricanes Ian and Milton alone left behind widespread devastation, while rising sea levels now routinely flood Miami streets even on sunny days. Beyond climate, affordability is spiraling. Insurance premiums have skyrocketed, and some homeowners have been dropped by insurers altogether. Rebuilding after every disaster strains state finances. Infrastructure in older coastal towns is crumbling under repeated flooding. In Fort Lauderdale, a first responder summed up the mood. "We know the waters will rise. We just hope it's not our homes next." Florida's gamble is to outbuild nature, with seawalls, elevated homes, and complex drainage systems. But with each passing season, the question looms larger. Can the Sunshine State afford to keep rebuilding forever? Number 4. Arizona. Arizona is scorching. Summer 2023 was its deadliest ever, with 645 confirmed heat-related deaths. Temperatures soared past 110 degrees, and the heat isn't just uncomfortable, it's lethal. Elderly residents, the homeless, and outdoor laborers are particularly vulnerable. Cooling centers have opened across Phoenix, but demand often outpaces capacity. Entire communities are forced to adapt or suffer. A woman in Tucson collapsed while walking home from the grocery store. A migrant worker fainted just feet from a dried-up irrigation canal. These aren't isolated tragedies. They're becoming routine. Water is another crisis. Lake Mead, Arizona's lifeline, is drying up. Farmers in Yuma are rationing water, while urban areas like Phoenix and Tucson push deeper into aquifers. Housing developments continue to expand despite clear warnings. A new analysis estimates $400 billion worth of property in the Phoenix area is now vulnerable to fire, flood, or heat. Blackouts during monsoons and contentious water rights battles are signs that the system is breaking. As one Phoenix councilwoman put it, "We're planning for growth, but climate is planning for collapse." Number 3. Louisiana. Louisiana lives and dies by the water, and today, that water is a threat. Coastal erosion, hurricanes, and sea level rise are swallowing entire communities. Since 1980, the state has suffered over 100 federally declared disasters, mostly climate-related. The Mississippi River Delta is vanishing. Fishermen in the bayous return to docks that no longer exist. Towns like Isle-de-Jean-Charles are already relocating due to climate collapse. One study predicts the state could lose 2,000 square miles of coast by 2050. For a state defined by culture, music, and food, losing land also means losing identity. Poverty compounds the crisis. Nearly 1 in 5 Louisianans live below the poverty line. Access to health care is limited. Education and public infrastructure are chronically underfunded. Corruption has marred recovery efforts in the past, and trust in leadership is thin. Yet, Louisiana's spirit endures. In every hurricane, you'll find communities rebuilding, sharing food, and offering shelter. But with stronger storms forecast and federal aid drying up, residents face impossible choices: stay and risk everything, or leave behind generations of history. Louisiana stands as a symbol of resilience and a warning of what happens when crisis becomes the norm. Number 2. West Virginia. West Virginia, once a symbol of America's industrial power, is now a portrait of decline. The state has experienced a population drop so severe that some towns have vanished completely. Between 2023 and 2024, over 500 residents left, in a state already small to begin with. The coal industry that once powered the nation has collapsed, leaving behind jobless communities and shuttered towns. Roads are empty, storefronts abandoned. Young families leave for better opportunities elsewhere. An aging population remains, trying to hold together what's left. Health outcomes in West Virginia are among the worst in the country. Opioid addiction continues to ravage families. Hospitals are closing. Schools are underfunded. Politicians argue over budgets, while water systems rust and bridges crumble. The state's economic model hasn't adjusted to modern times, and with few emerging industries, recovery seems distant. Still, stories of resilience remain. Former coal miners working in wind energy, neighbors building community gardens, pastors reopening old churches. But without real investment and vision, West Virginia risks becoming a relic of the past, rather than a promise for the future. Number 1. Mississippi. Mississippi tops this list for a painful reason. It's where nearly every challenge we've discussed comes together. It's the poorest state in the U.S., with the highest levels of food insecurity, some of the lowest educational outcomes, and widespread infrastructure failure. Rural communities regularly go without clean water. Entire towns rely on makeshift systems or boil notices. Hurricane damage continues to plague the Gulf Coast, and the Mississippi River floods have displaced farmers and destroyed crops. The environment here is as unstable as the economy. State leadership is deeply divided. Efforts to improve healthcare access, rebuild schools, or modernize transportation often stall in political deadlock. Corruption and mismanagement have eroded public trust. In one town, residents testified to boiling brown water for their children because the pipes hadn't been replaced in decades. Despite the darkness, hope persists. Churches feed families, volunteers run clinics, and educators push forward in underfunded classrooms. But Mississippi's crisis is a warning to the nation. Without meaningful reform, a state can collapse quietly until it's too late to notice. From Alaska's melting permafrost to Mississippi's poisoned pipes, the signs are everywhere. America is not immune to collapse. These states show how economic stagnation, climate change, population loss, and broken systems can combine into a dangerous spiral. Behind every data point is a family. A child in a classroom without air conditioning. A grandmother rebuilding after her 5th flood. A worker leaving home with no plan to return. These are not distant stories. They are happening right now. The takeaway is simple but urgent. No place is guaranteed a future. We need smart policy, strong communities, and leaders who listen. Whether you live in a thriving city or a struggling town, your fate is tied to these national trends. So ask yourself, is my state prepared? What lessons can we learn before it's too late? And what will we do together to prevent the next collapse? Thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. Stay informed. Stay prepared. Stay connected.